Hello and welcome back from Top the Wall. Cool guy Mason up here with an awesome new deck this Thursday. We have Greven, the new owner of the Whip of Erebos. As you probably guessed, we are designed around the Whip of Erebos with Greven as a commander. Now, Greven is not a super competitive commander, and he is not the kind of commander that you want to play and just presume you're going to win the game with him just with the one trigger. It's very unlikely, it takes a lot of setup, and he costs 5 mana, and the thing that you are sacking probably costs you a good amount of mana, so you're probably not going to get away with just trying to win the game with one shot. But you can still try. There's plenty of ways to still try. Speaking of hatred, he was immediately, he is on this card, and he actually works really well with this card. This is one of our one-shot cards where you can just, while he's on the field, you can just one-shot somebody. You can pay X life. Target creature gets +X/+0 until end turn. But of course, we're not targeting Greven. Absolutely not. You do not target Greven with this. You swing with him and another creature, and then while his sack ability is on the stack, you target one of your creatures. Keep in mind, you don't have to use, you don't have to choose what you're sacking until the sack trigger from his attack is resolved, and then you can pay the life, give something else +X/+0 until end turn, but because you paid life, that will also make Greven huge. Then let the sack trigger resolve or whatever, and draw however much life you just paid. That is, of course, combo 1 of the deck, and that is not our main way of winning. We're not planning on that. We actually are really committed to Feldon of the Third Path and Whip of Erebos, and we have a bunch of utility creatures and bunches of ways to reanimate our stuff. We do have our deck side Extortionist that came with the deck, came with a little precon. Fun card, I like it. We also have our Duplicant, just remove some creatures. We have our Flesh Carver to sack some of these creatures that we're reanimating. We got Hoarding Dragon to tutor artifacts like our Whip of Erebos. How convenient. We have our Kikusho, Evening Star. We have our Pit Lord, acts as a second hatred. We got Merciless Executioner, Meteor Golem, just as a Vindicate. Mind Slice to destroy everybody's hands, but it doesn't matter because a lot of our reanimation cards can work from the graveyard or work while just being on the battlefield, like Whip of Erebos or Feldon. Some of the other sweet things that we're trying to reanimate and some of the sweet packages we have are just Burglar Rats, like pick apart people's hands, Butcher of Malakir, sack more creatures. Another one of our one-shot cards in the deck is just reanimating or playing Malignus, sacking it to Greven, making him ridiculously huge, more than big enough to deal commander damage, just the full 21. Get them in one shot and slingshot us super far ahead in the game, just drawing a good 20 cards a lot of the time if anybody's at 40. But don't worry, there's more. There's always more to some of my decks. Like, there's always more in pretty much all of my decks. You should really check out the rest of my decks. They're all sweet. We have our good old Kiki Jiki combo with Zealous Conscripts to just be able to use Feldon or use Whip of Erebos to target Zealous Conscripts, get it back out of the graveyard, untap that permanent, and then we can get out Kiki Jiki, which comes into play, can make a copy of Zealous Conscripts, and then that one makes Kiki Jiki untap and repeatedly go back and forth, make a million 3/3s, and all with haste, get in, kill everybody. Fantastic. Just some of our two enchantments besides the Whip of Erebos is Dictate of Erebos, just a commander staple. Phyrexian Reclamation, just good value card to just keep getting back a lot of our creatures in place of our reanimation stuff. Kolaghan's Command and Rakdos Charm just for additional utility and additional removal and stuff. Just good, sweet cards. Speaking of more utility, we have a Mastermind's Acquisition, which gives us access to our entire deck as a Diabolic Tutor, or access to our sideboard as a Wish card. It gets either a Blood Moon, Corpse Augur, Dire Fleet Daredevil, Insanguinate, our Subsidiary Command, Living Death, Neviral's Disc, Profane Command, Ravenous Baboons, and Words of Waste. All of these cards are are cards that are only good in like certain situations and only good some of the time. So that's why I stuff them into the sideboard where they don't dilute our deck unless we really actually want to go get them in very specific spots that we're in. We got tons of fast mana. We got a lot of 0-drop mana cards in this deck. And specifically, they're there not only to get him out because he's actually a really expensive commander, but we also have them in there and we're committed to having them because Cranial Plating. Cranial Plating gives the equipped creature +1/+0 for each artifact we have. We have 25 artifacts in the deck, and for just black, we can attach a target creature we control at instant speed. So we can actually fling this around to the creature that we are trying to sacrifice with Greven's attack trigger to draw a bunch of cards. Keep in mind, we don't lose a bunch of life from its toughness. This is just powering up its power. So we're going to be drawing the cards, not losing that much life, and then fling it back on to Greven, who is now probably going to be lethal menace commander coming at somebody's face. And one of the minor synergies of the deck is our Bloodghast with our Skull Clamp. There we go, Bloodghast with Skull Clamp. Skull Clamp is just 1 mana to equip it, but it gives the equipped creature +1/-1, which will kill Bloodghast with 1 toughness, and that triggers Skull Clamp, lets us draw 2 cards. We do have some boots. We got our Lightning Greaves and our Swiftfoot boots, and we got a nice shiny helmet for Graven, or some of our other legendary creatures that can be particularly troublesome for our opponents to deal with. Like Feldon, we'd love to give him some nice shiny boots. Our backup plan is the Raise Boar. The Raise Boar is a creature that actually puts a creature card from our hand onto the battlefield. So it doesn't reanimate, but it does cheat some big fatties into play that we can then sacrifice with Greven and then try to reanimate them later. But of course, if you don't like the Raise Boar, there are many other choices down below in my maybe board. Tons of things to look at and check out on tap.net, and tons of cards that you might think are better than some of the cards that I included in this deck, or are just outright make me insane and make me look stupid for not putting them in the deck. If you think that's true, you should check this deck out on tap.net. Tell me what I did wrong in the comments below on either YouTube or on tap.net. Tell me what you would like to see next. And yeah, you guys seem cool. Come on in for that face touch.